And so what I developed with the training was try to get you to communicate in public presentations, in public speeches, in interviews, the way that you would communicate one-on-one, sitting with your good friend around the fireplace or wherever it is. And that's what we've got. That's the paradigm that you're going to get. I'm also looking at teaching speech writing and offer a little bit of debate, just because we actually debate much more than we think. They're very informal normally. They're not on TV and all that. But there are ways to win a debate. Again, not necessarily through intellectualism, but I want to have a section on that. And then I want to have a section on leadership and the state of democracy and autocracy in the world today, because the numbers are they're shifting and they're fairly alarming. It is because particularly in a professional setting, and you're right, I've trained business folks. One of the wealthiest businessmen in Chile came to Boston for 3 days to get training because he had heard about it. I've trained lawyers and doctors and people from literally every profession. And the common denominator is that in every profession, if you're going to be successful, you have to connect with your audience, whatever that audience is. If it's shareholders in a business, if it's a board of trustees at a university. I mean, I've trained faculty at Stanford. I've trained North American Uber executives in Mexico City at their conference a couple of years ago. Like I say, I've trained all over the world, different groups. And the importance is people tend not to necessarily know how to give, public presentations because they hadn't been taught. The way that we had been teaching people for years, Juan, was just write some good words, and if it sounds good, people will love it. And nothing about presentation, nothing about how to connect to the audience, nothing about showing your character, your values, all the things that we know now, particularly after this research for the last 20 years, that's what people connect to. And to be clear, Juan, on this one, I couldn't have done this without Harvard. They didn't join me in the 50 countries necessarily, but they gave me the platform to develop this and then to take it international. If Harvard wasn't there, this wouldn't have been developed. It wouldn't have been recognized. There wouldn't have been anything to recognize at the 8th World Governmental Forum in Dubai in 2022. But it took 20 years of research, international research, and all different professions where the light bulbs kept going off, going, my God, this is really working. And yes, it is transcultural. It is trans-professionalism. It works in virtually any profession because what we found is most people aren't very good communicators. And again, it's not a criticism. They just weren't taught. Now we have a vehicle to show them how to do it right. And it does empower people. And it makes sense. You see a great speaker, they come into the room, they own the room almost before they got there. And it's that confidence. It's that ability to command and be confident enough in their own presentation, their own intellectualism, their own knowledge of whatever the subject matter is, that allows them to connect better. They'd come in, we'd film them giving a speech, and then in real time, I would go through that speech saying, ooh, this was really good, but see what you did here, don't do that. Just so they kind of have that floor that I talked about, that first speech that you film. And they only have to be, we found out in our training that in about 3 minutes, I can tell what your communication paradigm is. Kind of exactly where you're at. And then give that to, now that's your baseline. Every time you speak and you film yourself and you're practicing this, you compare it back to that one and you'll see how much better you're getting. And maybe the way to do it, Juan, would be to have them film a 3-minute speech ahead of time, and then we'll critique those in real time, and then I'll tell them what to do better. And then, so in that half hour, they'll get an individual critique. And what we normally do at the Kennedy School is we film that critique. So they've got a film of me critiquing them, and so they can look at that and go back and look at that again and say, okay, he said to do this, or oh, don't do that. That would be a possibility as well.